How to Get Out of Debt with the Power of God by Earl Nightingale. Lesson 1. The Prosperity Mindset. You were born for abundance. This is not merely a pleasant thought or a hopeful wish. It is the fundamental truth of your existence. The creator of this universe, who fashioned the stars and set the planets in motion, did not design you for a life of lack, struggle, and debt. No, you were crafted for prosperity. The first and most crucial step on your journey to financial freedom is understanding that prosperity is your divine right. Just as surely as the sun rises each morning, the unlimited abundance of God's universe is available to you. But here's where many good folks stumble. They've been thinking about debt for so long that debt is precisely what they continue to create in their lives. Remember what I've shared with audiences across this great nation. We become what we think about. This principle, as old as human thought itself, operates with unwavering precision in your financial life. When your mind dwells constantly on bills, lack, and financial worry, you're planting seeds that can only grow into more of the same. Starting today, I want you to begin a simple practice. Each morning before your feet touch the floor, close your eyes and see yourself completely free of debt. Feel the lightness in your chest, the smile that comes naturally to your face when you envision all financial burdens lifted from your shoulders. Picture yourself writing checks with ease, helping others generously, and living in the abundance God intended for you. This isn't wishful thinking. There's a world of difference between idle daydreaming and purposeful belief. Wishful thinking says, wouldn't it be nice if, while purposeful belief declares this is becoming my reality now. God's universe responds not to our wishes, but to our deepest convictions. When you truly believe in your prosperity with the same certainty that you believe the floor will support you when you stand, remarkable changes begin to unfold in your financial circumstances. Each day, take 5 minutes to speak words of abundance over your life. Say aloud, I am moving toward complete financial freedom. God's unlimited supply flows to me now. I handle money with wisdom and joy. Prosperity is my birthright, and I claim it today. Speak these words not as if you're trying to convince yourself of something untrue, but as one who is simply acknowledging what has already been established in the spiritual realm. For just as a mighty oak exists within an acorn before any roots break through the soil, your prosperity exists in divine reality before it manifests in your bank account. The mind that focuses on debt creates more debt. The mind that dwells on lack perpetuates lack. But the mind anchored in God's promises of abundance begins to notice opportunities, generate ideas, and take actions that inevitably lead to prosperity. You have begun the journey toward freedom simply by opening these pages. Now let the truth sink deeply into your consciousness. There is no debt that cannot be paid with the power of God, and you deserve nothing less than complete prosperity. Lesson 2. Recognizing God's abundance in your life. Have you ever noticed that the wealthiest people are often those who first recognize the abundance they already possess? This fundamental truth is your starting point on the journey to debt freedom. The Creator has already surrounded you with countless blessings, financial and otherwise, that most of us simply fail to observe in our daily rush. Let me share something powerful with you. What you appreciate, appreciates. This isn't merely clever wordplay, but a profound spiritual principle operating in your life right now. When you begin to recognize and express gratitude for the abundance already present in your life, you activate what I call the multiplication principle. Like the 5 loaves and 2 fish that fed thousands, your recognized blessings multiply when viewed through eyes of thankfulness. Consider Mary from Oklahoma, who discovered she possessed skills neighbors would gladly pay for, simple home organization talents she had taken for granted. Or Thomas in Georgia, who realized the old tools gathering dust in his garage represented not junk, but startup capital for a weekend repair service. Sarah in Maine found that her comfortable guest room, sitting empty most months, could generate income through short-term rentals, erasing her credit card debt within a year. These weren't wealthy people who stumbled upon hidden treasures. They were everyday people who simply opened their eyes to the resources God had already placed in their possession. The abundance was there all along, waiting to be recognized and activated. Your current circumstances, regardless of how challenging they may appear, contain hidden opportunities. That spare hour in your morning could be the seed of a side business. The knowledge you've gained through life experience might be the very information someone else would gladly compensate you for sharing. Begin today with this simple practice. Create a gratitude journal focused specifically on your financial blessings. Start with the obvious. Perhaps you have reliable transportation, a skill that generates income, or a roof over your head. Then dig deeper. Do you have good health that allows you to work? Computer access that connects you to worldwide opportunities? A friend who shares money? Saving tips? This spiritual practice of counting your financial blessings shifts something fundamental in your relationship with money. It moves you from focusing on scarcity to recognizing abundance, from seeing only what's missing to appreciating what's present. Remember the words of that great teacher who said, "To those who have, more will be given." This wasn't describing some cosmic unfairness, but rather the natural law that what we focus upon expands in our awareness and our experience Your journey out of debt begins not with complex financial strategies, though those will come, but with the simple recognition that God has already provided you with resources, talents, and opportunities that, when properly appreciated and applied, contain the seeds of your financial freedom. Tonight before sleep, take 5 minutes to list 5 financial blessings in your life. Tomorrow morning, read them aloud. Watch how this practice alone begins to transform not just how you feel about your financial situation, but the situation itself. The abundance is already there. Your recognition of it is the key that unlocks its power in your life. Lesson 3. The miracle of compound action. My dear friend, what you're about to discover could very well be the most powerful secret to eliminating your debt forever. It's what I call the miracle of compound action, and it works with the same divine precision as the laws that govern our universe. Consider for a moment the humble mustard seed. Our Lord spoke of faith this size, yet from this tiny beginning grows a plant so magnificent that birds make their homes in its branches. Your financial freedom follows this same heavenly pattern. Most people fail in their attempts to become debt-free because they're searching for one dramatic solution, a financial lottery win, a sudden inheritance, or some other unlikely rescue. But God rarely works this way in our financial lives. Instead, He has embedded the principle of compound action into the very fabric of success. Let me share with you a truth I've observed throughout my years. Small actions performed consistently over time will always outperform grand gestures that quickly fade. This isn't merely my opinion. It's a spiritual law as certain as gravity. When you take one small step today toward reducing your debt, perhaps brewing coffee at home instead of purchasing it, or spending 15 minutes reviewing your expenses, you set in motion forces far greater than the action itself. Heaven honors consistency above all else. Picture yourself placing $1 toward your debt today. This might seem insignificant against thousands owed. But then tomorrow, add another $1, and another $1, and another the next day. By the week's end, not only have $7 been directed toward your freedom, but you've established a pattern that God can multiply. The miracle occurs not just in the mathematics of debt reduction, but in the transformation of your character. Each small victory deserves celebration. When you choose to make a payment instead of a purchase, pause and acknowledge this act of faith. God sees these moments, friends. I recommend creating a simple visual tracker of your progress. Perhaps a jar where you place a marble for each debt payment made, or a chart where you color in your progress. This visible reminder speaks to both your conscious and subconscious mind, reinforcing your partnership with divine abundance. Water, falling one drop at a time, can carve through solid stone given enough time. Your consistent actions, aligned with God's principles of abundance, will likewise cut through your financial burdens. Start today with one small step. Perhaps it's writing down every expense for the next week. Maybe it's finding 3 items in your home to sell, or simply spending 10 minutes in prayer specifically about your most pressing debt. Then tomorrow, take another step. The compound effect of these actions, blessed by your Creator who desires your prosperity, will work miracles beyond what you can imagine. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step, and your journey to financial freedom begins with today's single purposeful action. Lesson 4. Prayer as a financial strategy. What we're about to explore together may be the most powerful financial tool ever conceived, yet it costs nothing and is available to everyone, regardless of education or background. I'm talking about the magnificent power of prayer, not as a religious formality, but as a dynamic, practical strategy for transforming your financial situation. The average person today approaches prayer with hesitation, almost apologetically, as though they're bothering God with their financial troubles. This is a fundamental misunderstanding. You see, prayer isn't merely asking. It's claiming what is already yours by divine right. The Creator who formed the universe with a word has established universal laws of abundance that work with unfailing certainty when properly understood and applied. When you pray about your finances, you're not begging for scraps from the table. You're stepping into alignment with the infinite supply that already exists. Consider this remarkable truth. Most people spend more time complaining about their bills than they do in focused, purposeful prayer about those same financial challenges. Is it any wonder they remain stuck? Let me share a simple but powerful approach. Begin each morning with a 15-minute period of financial prayer. Find a quiet corner in your home where you won't be disturbed. Sit comfortably, take several deep breaths, and center yourself in the present moment. Then, with calm confidence, not desperate pleading, speak directly to the issue. Divine intelligence within me knows the way to complete financial freedom. I now release all worry about these debts and claim my rightful prosperity. The same power that created worlds can certainly handle these bills. The scientific evidence is compelling. Studies have shown that people who engage in regular prayer experience significantly lower levels of financial stress. Their decision-making improves. They find creative solutions that previously escaped their notice. This isn't mystical. It's the practical result of shifting your thinking from problem orientation to solution awareness. Create a special place in your home dedicated to your financial prayers. It needn't be elaborate. Perhaps a small table with a meaningful item that represents abundance to you. The physical space becomes charged with your focused intention over time. For families facing debt together, gather everyone, even the children, for brief prayer sessions about your household finances. Make it positive, never fearful. We give thanks for God's abundance flowing into our family. We are growing more prosperous each day. Children absorb these messages deeply and develop healthy money attitudes that will serve them throughout life. There's a profound difference between asking and claiming. Most people ask weakly with doubt clouding their words. Instead, claim with certainty, as though the solution already exists. Because in truth, it does. I give thanks now for the perfect resolution of this financial situation. The debt that seems so overwhelming to you is infinitesimal compared to the unlimited abundance of the universe. Prayer connects you to that abundance. It isn't just spiritual comfort. It's practical action on the mental plane that inevitably produces results in your physical experience. Start today. Be consistent. Your financial deliverance isn't just possible. It's inevitable when you apply this powerful strategy with confidence and persistence. Lesson 5. Faith-based budgeting. The difference between those who achieve financial freedom and those who remain shackled by debt is not merely a matter of income. It is rather a matter of wise stewardship. And today we're going to discuss one of the most powerful tools available to you on your journey to prosperity: faith-based budgeting. A budget is nothing more than a plan for your money, and like any journey, when you have a map, you're far more likely to reach your destination. The trouble is, most folks view budgeting as restrictive, like a financial straitjacket. Nothing could be further from the truth. A proper budget is liberating. It gives you permission to spend in accordance with your true priorities. When we approach budgeting with faith, we acknowledge that all we have comes from God. Every dollar that flows through your hands is actually on loan from the divine treasury. You're not just managing money. You're managing God's resources that He has entrusted to you. This perspective changes everything. Let me share with you a simple method anyone can understand. Take your monthly income and divide it into categories: giving, saving, housing, food, transportation, debt repayment, and discretionary spending. The exact percentages will vary for each person, but the principle remains the same. Give every dollar a purpose before the month begins. The envelope system works wonderfully for many families. Simply place cash for each spending category into labeled envelopes. When an envelope is empty, you stop spending in that category until the next month. This tangible approach makes money real again in our digital world. One of the most important aspects of faith-based budgeting is distinguishing between needs and wants. A need is something required for survival: food, basic clothing, shelter, transportation to work. A want is everything else. This isn't to say you shouldn't enjoy nice things, but rather that you should prioritize needs first, then allocate remaining resources thoughtfully. When you view your finances through this spiritual lens, something remarkable happens. You begin to find joy in simplicity rather than consumption. The latest gadget loses its grip on your desires. The neighbor's new car doesn't stir envy. You discover that contentment flows not from having more, but from wanting less. Creating your first faith-based spending plan may take an hour or two, but it's time well invested. Sit down in a quiet place, perhaps with your spouse or an accountability partner. Pray for guidance before you begin. Look honestly at your income and expenses. Where does your money actually go? This truth-telling moment can be uncomfortable but is essential for transformation. Friends, managing money God's way isn't about restriction. It's about finding freedom. Freedom from worry. Freedom from worry. Freedom from the constant pressure to keep up appearances. Freedom from the burden of debt. And with each bill you pay, with each debt you eliminate, with each dollar you save, you honor your divine partnership. Your prosperity is indeed a divine right. But prosperity doesn't simply appear. It is built through faithful stewardship, one decision at a time. Start today with your faith-based budget and watch as new pathways to abundance begin to open before you. Lesson 6. Breaking Chains of Financial Fear. My good friend, imagine yourself for a moment completely free from financial worry. Picture what that would feel like. The lightness in your step, the lightness in your step, the clarity in your mind, the peace in your heart. This is not merely a pleasant daydream, but your divine birthright. The greatest prison is not built of concrete and steel, but of fear. And financial fear may be the most common cell in which good people find themselves trapped. But here's the magnificent truth. The key to that cell has been in your possession all along. Money worries grow in the dark corners of our minds like weeds in an untended garden. They start small, a concerned thought about an upcoming bill, then spread their roots into every aspect of our thinking. Before long, we're paralyzed, seeing no way forward. But remember what the good book tells us, for God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. This sound mind, this divine gift, is your most powerful weapon against financial anxiety. When you worry about money, you're focusing your magnificent mind on what you don't want rather than what you do want. And as I've said before, you become what you think about. Let me share a simple but powerful exercise. Each morning when you awake, before your feet touch the floor, say aloud, "My financial freedom is already created. I walk toward it with confidence today." The words may feel strange at first, perhaps even untrue. Say them anyway, for it is in the declaration that we begin to create our new reality. What we fear, we empower. When you constantly worry about debt, you are giving it strength beyond its true measure. Instead, see your financial challenges for what they truly are, temporary conditions that are already changing. They have no more permanence than yesterday's weather. Take a sheet of paper and write down your specific money worries. Be honest and thorough. Now, beside each one, write what that worry is costing you, in peace of mind, in physical health, in strained relationships. Then, most importantly, write a truth that counters each fear. If you worry about paying a specific bill, write, God's abundance flows to me in expected and unexpected ways. This need is already met. These are not empty affirmations, but declarations of spiritual truth that align your thoughts with divine provision. The universe responds not to our wishes, but to our deepest convictions. As you transform your convictions about money, new pathways of provision will appear before you. The same divine intelligence that created the stars and keeps your heart beating has solutions to your financial challenges that you haven't yet imagined. Your job is not to figure everything out, but to keep your mind open to guidance and your eyes open to opportunity. Financial fear chains us only when we agree to wear the shackles. Begin today to see yourself as already free, already walking in prosperity, already living in abundance. For in truth, that is who you really are, a child of infinite abundance, temporarily experiencing a lesson in contrast, but never truly separated from your divine inheritance of plenty. Lesson 7. Serving others to create abundant. What I'm about to share with you today could completely transform your financial future. It's a principle so powerful, yet so often overlooked in our quest for prosperity. This principle is simply this. To receive abundance, we must first give it. The universe operates on an extraordinary system of balance and exchange. Just as surely as the farmer must plant before he can harvest, we too must sow the seeds of service before we can reap the rewards of prosperity. This is not merely a nice philosophy. It is a spiritual and practical law as consistent as gravity itself. When you're in debt, your natural tendency is to hold tightly to what you have. You think, I can't afford to give right now. Once I'm out of debt, then I'll be generous. But this thinking works against the very abundance you seek. The closed hand can neither give nor receive. Begin where you are. If you cannot give money, give your time. If you cannot give your time, give a kind word. Service starts not with what you have, but with what you can share. A smile costs nothing but creates value. Encouragement requires no bank account, but deposits joy in the hearts of others. Ask yourself, what unique gifts has God blessed me with? Perhaps you're good with your hands and can fix things. Maybe you have a talent for organization or cooking or teaching children. These abilities aren't random. They're divine tools meant to serve others and, in turn, create channels for abundance to flow back to you. I recall a gentleman named Robert who found himself $30,000 in debt after losing his job. Instead of retreating in fear, he began volunteering at his local community center, teaching basic computer skills to seniors. This act of service led to referrals for paid work, connections to potential employers, and eventually a position that paid far more than his previous job. Within 2 years, his debt was eliminated. Not because he focused on the debt, but because he focused on serving others. The marketplace rewards value. When you increase your service, you increase your value. Look for ways to go beyond what's expected. In your current work, ask, how can I serve more completely? How can I serve more completely? How can I solve problems no one else is solving? This mindset will distinguish you and inevitably create financial opportunities. Remember the principle of the harvest. We reap what we sow, more than we sow, and later than we sow. Your service may not yield immediate financial returns, but if persistently applied, it creates a momentum that no debt can permanently withstand. Begin today. Find one person you can help. Offer your abilities without expectation of return. Watch how this changes not just your circumstances, but your spirit. For in the act of giving, we align ourselves with God's abundance rather than man's scarcity. The pathway out of debt isn't found in constantly looking at the debt itself, but in lifting your eyes to see the needs you can meet, the people you can serve, and the value you can create. This is how ordinary people accomplish extraordinary financial breakthroughs, not through magic, but through the miraculous power of genuine service to others. Lesson 8. Divine Inspiration for Income Growth. Ladies and gentlemen, there exists within each of us a remarkable power plant of ideas waiting to be tapped. This power, divine inspiration, is perhaps the most overlooked resource in our journey toward financial freedom. The Almighty has placed within you unique thoughts, talents, and insights that, when properly channeled, can create streams of income you've never before imagined. Consider this fundamental truth. Your Creator did not design you for poverty or debt. The same mind that conceived the universe has given you the capacity to receive brilliant ideas that can transform your financial situation completely. But how many of these million-dollar insights have slipped away because you weren't listening? The first step in receiving divine inspiration for income growth is creating deliberate silence. In our noisy world of constant notifications and endless distractions, inspiration cannot compete with chaos. Set aside 15 minutes each morning before the household stirs. Sit quietly with a notebook at hand. Ask specifically for guidance about increasing your income. Then listen. Don't force thoughts. Let them arrive naturally. What separates those who succeed financially from those who struggle is not just having inspired ideas, but acting upon them. When the divine whisper suggests a new approach to your work, a side business opportunity, or an innovative solution to a problem people would pay to solve, write it down immediately. Ideas are slippery things that evaporate when not captured. I once knew a cleaning lady who, while working in a doctor's office, received a simple inspiration about organizing medical records. Instead of dismissing it as not her department, she respectfully shared her idea. Within 6 months, she was earning triple her previous income as an office systems consultant to medical practices throughout her city. Her willingness to recognize and act upon divine inspiration changed everything. Your current skills contain hidden value you haven't recognized. The talents you take for granted, whether organizing, communicating, fixing things, or connecting with others, represent potential income when applied to solving problems. Ask every day, what abilities has God given me that could help others? Money follows value. When you deliver genuine service inspired by your highest thoughts, financial increase naturally follows. The marketplace rewards solutions, not complaints or problems. Divine inspiration often appears when we step out of our routines, take a different route to work, read books outside your usual interests, speak with people unlike yourself. These fresh perspectives create openings for new ideas to enter. Many people miss divinely inspired opportunities because they appear first as modest beginnings rather than grand openings. The oak tree starts as an acorn. Your next income breakthrough might arrive disguised as a small suggestion or passing thought that, if nurtured, could grow into something substantial. Tonight, before sleeping, request specific guidance about increasing your income. Your subconscious mind, connected to infinite intelligence, works while you rest. Keep paper nearby to record insights that arrive upon waking. This practice, maintained consistently, will open floodgates of practical ideas for growing your prosperity and eliminating debt forever. Your financial breakthrough awaits not in struggling harder, but in listening deeper. Divine inspiration for income growth is your birthright. Claim it today. Lesson 9. Heal your relationship with money. Money is simply a tool, no more inherently good or evil than a hammer or a saw. Yet how many of us carry burdens about money that were placed upon our shoulders when we were too young to question them? These beliefs slip into our minds like silent visitors and take up residence without invitation, shaping our financial destiny without our awareness. I've observed over many years that our earliest memories about money form the foundation of our financial house. Perhaps you heard phrases like "money doesn't grow on trees," or "we can't afford that," repeated throughout your childhood. These seemingly innocent statements planted seeds that grew into limiting beliefs about what's possible for your financial future. God created a world of abundance, not scarcity. The same divine power that causes a tiny seed to burst forth into a mighty oak has provided you with everything needed for prosperity. But first, you must heal the wounds in your relationship with money. Begin this healing process by examining your earliest money memories. Day your grandmother gave you your first dollar, or perhaps when your father worried aloud about bills at the kitchen table. These memories carry emotional weight. Acknowledge them without judgment. They were formed by people doing the best they could with what they knew. Now comes an exercise of tremendous power. Forgiveness. Forgiveness. You must forgive yourself for financial mistakes. That credit card you maxed out, the loan you couldn't repay, the savings you didn't set aside. Each represents not moral failure, but simply a lesson on your journey. God does not hold these against you, so why should you punish yourself? Write each financial regret on a piece of paper. Hold it in your hands, acknowledge the lesson it taught you, and then release it. Some people find great healing in safely burning these papers while saying, "I release this burden and accept God's abundance instead." A remarkable transformation occurs when you begin blessing your bills. Yes, actually blessing them. When the electric bill arrives, rather than feeling dread, try saying, "I am grateful for the electricity that lights my home. I bless this bill and willingly circulate money, knowing that as I give, so shall I receive." This simple practice shifts your energy from resentment to gratitude. Your financial story is being written daily, and God has given you the power to pick up the pen and change the narrative. Where you once saw debtor, you can now write good steward. Where you once believed never enough, you can now claim more than sufficient. The thoughts you plant today become tomorrow's reality. As you heal your relationship with money, you create space for God's abundant blessings to flow freely into your life. Financial wholeness begins not with a changed circumstance, but with a changed mind. The person who understands this truth faces bills with confidence rather than fear, knowing that the same God who clothes the lilies of the field has promised to provide all your needs according to his riches in glory. Your healed relationship with money becomes not just a personal blessing, but a testimony to others still struggling in financial bondage. Lesson 10. The Community of Abundance. A marvelous truth awaits your discovery today, one that will accelerate your journey out of debt with tremendous power. You see, while your personal relationship with God forms the foundation of your financial freedom, there exists an extraordinary multiplier effect when you connect with others on the same path. This is what I call the community of abundance. Remember this always. No great achievement in human history was accomplished entirely alone. Even the most brilliant minds and strongest spirits required the support, wisdom, and encouragement of others. Your financial liberation is no different. The first step is finding supportive partners for your journey. Look around you, in your church, your neighborhood, among friends or family. Who demonstrates the financial wisdom you seek to develop? Who speaks with faith about God's provision? These are the people who can help illuminate your path. Don't be shy about approaching them. Most successful people are delighted to share what they've learned with sincere seekers. Now, accountability is essential, but it must never involve shame. The right accountability partner doesn't scold or judge. They simply help you remain aware of your commitments. Meet regularly, perhaps weekly, to review your progress, share victories, and discuss challenges. This simple practice will dramatically increase your follow-through. When you know someone else is expecting your report, you'll find new motivation to stay faithful to your plan. Discussing debt reduction with family members requires special care. Begin with prayer, asking God for the right words and timing. Choose a relaxed moment, free from distractions. Speak in terms of shared dreams rather than past mistakes. Instead of, "We have to stop overspending," try, "I believe God wants to bless our family with financial peace." Here's what I'm learning about how we might get there together. The concept of a spiritual mastermind group may be new to you, but it's simply a small gathering of like-minded people who meet regularly to study, pray, and support each other toward financial freedom. Napoleon Hill first popularized the mastermind principle, noting that when minds unite in harmony toward a shared purpose, They tap into a greater intelligence than any could access alone. Add the spiritual dimension of seeking God's wisdom together, and you create a powerhouse of transformation. Start small, perhaps just 2 or 3 trusted friends. Meet consistently, perhaps twice monthly. Structure your meetings with prayer, shared study of financial principles, honest discussion of challenges, and celebration of victories. Watch how God works through this fellowship to bring inspiration, accountability, and breakthroughs. Your journey to financial freedom isn't meant to be traveled alone. God designed us for community. When you surround yourself with others who share your faith and financial goals, you create an environment where God's abundance flows more freely. The community you build becomes a channel for His provision, multiplying the wisdom, encouragement, and opportunities available to you. This is the community of abundance, and it stands ready to accelerate your path to financial freedom today. Lesson 11. The Miracle of Debt Elimination. This is the day. This is the extraordinary moment when you recognize that debt elimination isn't just a financial process. It's a spiritual awakening. I've spent decades studying the remarkable capacity of the human mind, and I can tell you with absolute certainty that you possess within you, right now, the divine power to transform your financial situation completely. God didn't create you to live under the crushing weight of debt. That's not His plan for your magnificent life. The Creator of this abundant universe designed you for prosperity, for freedom, for the joy that comes from living in alignment with divine principles of wealth. Think about this. Every debt paid is a declaration of your faith in action. Each bill you settle is a testament to your partnership with God. You see, debt elimination isn't merely about numbers on a page. It's about reclaiming your God-given birthright of abundance. I remember a man from Chicago who found himself buried under $45,000 of consumer debt. His situation appeared hopeless by ordinary standards. But this man understood something crucial. Appearances are not reality. Reality is what exists in the mind of God, who sees your complete financial freedom as already accomplished. This man began to align his thoughts with this divine perspective. He didn't just hope for debt relief. He claimed it as already his. Within 18 months, through a series of what many would call coincidences, but what were actually divine appointments, every penny was paid in full. The miracle of debt elimination happens when you make a decision, a real decision, that you will no longer accept financial bondage as your lot in life. The moment you decide, truly decide, the entire universe begins rearranging itself to accommodate your new financial reality. Your words matter tremendously in this process. Speak only what you wish to experience. Rather than saying, "I'm drowning in debt," declare with conviction, "My debts are being eliminated through God's unlimited supply." Your words aren't just sounds. They're spiritual forces that shape your financial future. Practice the habit of seeing your debts as already paid. Before sleep each night, visualize opening your mailbox to find notifications that your accounts are settled in full. Feel the lightness in your step as you walk unburdened by financial worry. Experience the deep breath of freedom that fills your lungs when you know that you owe no man anything but love. God has placed within you astonishing resources: creativity, determination, wisdom, and divine guidance that, when activated by your belief, will carve pathways through your financial mountains. These resources remain dormant until you wake them with your faith. Perhaps the greatest miracle in debt elimination isn't actually the disappearance of the debt itself, but the person you become through the process. You're developing spiritual muscles of faith, perseverance, and divine partnership that will serve you for decades to come. So stand tall today. Recognize that your current financial situation is temporary, but the prosperity principles you're learning are eternal. The same God who feeds the birds of the air and clothes the lilies of the field has promised to supply all your needs according to His riches in glory. Your debts are simply opportunities for God to demonstrate His faithfulness in your life. The miracle is already in motion. Your debt-free future is rushing toward you with unstoppable momentum. All that remains is for you to recognize it, receive it, and walk in it with gratitude and purpose. Lesson 12. Living Debt. Free through divine providence. This is where your journey truly begins. You've traveled through the valley of debt and now stand at the threshold of a new life, a life of freedom and abundance that was always meant to be yours. Remember when we first started? You may have doubted whether freedom from debt was truly possible. Perhaps you looked at those figures, those seemingly insurmountable numbers, and felt your heart sink. But that was before you understood the magnificent truth. God created an abundant universe with more than enough for everyone, including you. The mind is like a fertile garden. For too long, many of us have allowed weeds of lack and limitation to grow unchecked, but you've now learned to cultivate new thoughts. Thoughts of prosperity, abundance, and divine provision. You've planted these seeds daily through your affirmations, prayers, and visualizations. What you think about, you bring about. This isn't mere positive thinking. It's aligning yourself with the universal laws that God established. Just as surely as gravity works, whether you believe in it or not, the law of abundance operates in your life when you place yourself in harmony with it. Your debt didn't accumulate overnight, and though miraculous provision certainly happens, most often our financial freedom comes through consistent, inspired action. You've learned that God provides not just through unexpected windfalls, but through ideas, opportunities, and the wisdom to manage what you already have. Think of the widow in ancient times whose small jar of oil multiplied until all her debts were paid. The miracle wasn't just in the multiplication. It was that she took action. Gathered vessels, and participated in her own financial deliverance. You've done the same through the practical step you've taken? The path continues forward. Staying debt-free requires vigilance and wisdom. When temptation comes, and it will come, remember to pause and ask, is this purchase aligned with God's purpose for my resources? There's tremendous power in that simple pause. Share your testimony freely. Others need to hear that financial freedom is possible through divine partnership. Your journey may inspire someone who stands where you once stood, feeling hopeless and overwhelmed. Wealth isn't measured merely by dollars and cents, but by peace of mind, by knowing your needs are met, by the joy of giving generously without fear. True prosperity includes good health, loving relationships, and purposeful living. Keep your gratitude journal close at hand. Each day, write down the evidence of abundance in your life. This simple practice keeps your eyes focused on provision rather than lack. You've learned, perhaps, the greatest financial truth of all. You are not alone in your financial journey. The same intelligence that keeps the planets in their orbits, that causes seeds to grow into mighty trees, that created this vast universe. That same wisdom is available to guide your financial decisions when you listen. Walk forward with confidence. You were born for abundance, not lack. You were created for freedom, not bondage. And with God as your provider and counselor, you will never return to the prison of debt again.